Mr. Gallagher?
So just to clarify then, so you had 30 businesses and showed up at the actual meeting on Wednesday, and then you physically went out and knocked on doors and got another 30 then responded?
No, we have a total of physical surveys that we received in hand was about 30.
Okay, so in that situation at 75%, you're looking at around 22 then responded in the positive to move ahead with the project as stipulated. So for us, as we do this, I want to make sure that you understand that I liked option 2, but I wanted to flip-flop it and do Locust Street this year and then Lincoln Highway in 2011, just to give a little bit of time. Sometimes I think people might feel like you're pushing ahead with this particular project. There's almost 11% unemployment in DeKalb County. Someone could have lost their job. Taxes are going to be raised. All these different things, and it's like, here goes another public project that's going through. But we want to make sure that, from a decision that we make as a city council as we push forward on this, is it simply the will of 22 businesses that want us to do this that's going to affect 25,000 property taxpayers? That's one of those situations where I think we have to weigh that in the gravity of the situation, where if someone didn't turn back a response, of that, when we receive only 23% response from 130 businesses in the central business district, then there's a little bit of concern there. I'm sure there has to be some concern. And the ones that are going to want to push forward on this will be the ones that want to see this go through, obviously, and that's great. But we want to make sure that all voices are heard, because that's my job, is to try to be a consensus builder here. When I listen to my residents in my district say, no, we're doing a lot of things here, we're spending a lot of money. I thought the money was already in the TIF, but apparently it's not in the TIF, right? We have to bond it out and then go back and then pay it over 10 years. So I just want to make sure we have all the information in front of us, and that we have everyone before we just jump through on this one.
Yeah, and I agree with that, and I hear what you're saying. I would say that we have, as an organization, Renew DeKalb has done everything we can to engage people in downtown, stakeholders, merchants, in the communication process of what's going on, what are the issues. We called we changed our agenda at our board meeting last week, and yes, this was a rushed attempt to get some information and to kind of take a consensus of the downtown business owners that we could get in touch with. But again, that was a result of, we have calibrated this thing fairly frequently as we've moved along. And just as the economy continues to struggle and the city has its financial issues and other taxing bodies have its issues, we thought it would be appropriate to take this snapshot, and whatever information we could get, we have given you tonight. But any further, attempts at communication and, what you guys are hearing in your individual wards for people outside of the downtown business district, I think that's great input that you're getting. But for what we did, yes, 22 out of 100 downtown is not a big percentage, but I do think it's fairly, for those that are interested and for those that want to provide feedback, I think that's a fairly consistent theme that we've had in the last 12 to 18 months of kind of where people stand.
With this rushed attempt at this particular survey or this quick, consensus vote, what was the rationale behind that? Why do that? I thought this was already a foregone conclusion that we were going to be doing this. So why all of a sudden go back and...
We anticipated the questions being asked this evening, based on some input that you've told me you've received from other merchants. So we wanted to get a better accounting, if you will, of the sentiment of those in the downtown area. That's why we did it.
Okay. Yeah, I think, based on what Alderman Tarazinski said, and following through on what we had at the Special Finance Committee meeting, I guess Tuesday or something, a week or so ago, where they did that online survey with 10 questions, and he got back a 100% response rate. That was pretty good, I thought, in that situation. But the email that I received about this particular meeting just said, hey, there's a meeting, we need you there, it's important that you're there. It would have been nice if there would have been a link for some type of survey that said, here, give us some input on this. Because I think it's relatively straightforward to set up those surveys online now. Maybe you'd have a higher response rate.
Probably would have.
Mr. Chair, just to follow up, and my comment earlier was along that line, but as I understand it, and the city manager's comments earlier about the timeline and the decision-making process, we're going to talk about the bond here, which is one aspect, but we're not voting on anything here tonight. As I understand it, the vote's going to come on April 12th when the final bids and presentation are made on the proposal for this coming year, which provides us some time yet. For those who have not responded to you or to consider electronic form is something maybe the board would consider on your part, but I think more input is certainly welcome And I appreciate very much, because the information I had received recently was there was some concern. Things have not maybe improved as people thought they might in the economy, and there's some reservations being expressed. So I appreciate the follow-up and the diligence of checking it again, and I think we have maybe a couple weeks to continue to try to get that feedback, and that, again, is very welcome, and thank you.
Yes, Mr. Bernanke, go ahead.
Well, in response to that, it needs to be, using the word clarified, but we need to, we will be advertising for bids this Thursday. And depending upon your direction tonight, that bid will say the combined projects, as we just discussed, or it's going to be split out. We don't have time on April 12th to make that decision at that point, because the bids, assuming you're giving us the combined direction for the combined projects tonight, have to be prepared in that fashion. Remember, one of the things was the economy of scale of joining these two projects together. And that's the way the bid's going out, absent direction to the contrary. And it would appear that the survey information we've done to date, perhaps rushed, but as succinct as we can get it, is suggesting that the combined projects on the original timeline is the way to go.